For some time now, I have been saying that Marvel Comics has this disturbed idea in their head where they never want Spider-Man to grow up. They always seem to want to keep him as a teenager for some reason, even though he's like in his 30s now. And it's like, I don't know, they have this Peter Pan like thing about them where they just never want the character to evolve. He must always remain as is. And like, people might think, well, I'm just speaking nonsense there and I'm just saying things that it doesn't have any proof. Well, apparently, Joe Kelly, who is finishing up or has just finished his 8 Deaths as Spider-Man, rather than it's going to be rebooting the character again. Apparently, now he wants to take Spider-Man all the way back to middle school. I mean, like, what's next? Him in diapers? Like, how messed up is this going to get? Let's just go through this so you can understand this article here from Bounding into Comics. Marvel Comics continues to ignore fans, confirms next Amazing Spider-Man run will again focus on Peter as a young person. Okay, because why not send him back to school? That's just disturbing in itself. In continuing to double down on the publishers at this stage unhealthy obsession, oh yes, it's very unhealthy, with the idea that the wall crawler must never ever be allowed to grow up. Marvel Comics writer Joe Kelly has confirmed that rather than looking to the future and allowing the hero to undergo any significant character development, his upcoming Amazing Spider-Man run will focus instead on exploring Peter Parker's early teenage years. So you just had Zeb Wells, who pretty much ruined the character so badly, and his run was so universally panned. All people are going to remember it for is, hey, remember that time Mary Jane kind of told Spider-Man to suck it, and she went with some other guy, and then, everybody hated Peter Parker, even though he literally did nothing wrong, and, he was basically a bum. That they followed that up, but let's kill Spider-Man continuously, even though it made no sense. Let's turn him into an even bigger bum. Now you want to go back to his early teenage years because reasons, I guess. Ay, 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 boy. Yeah. Speaking to the narrative direction of his run, Kelly explained to those that rather than focusing on retreading Spider-Man's well-known origin story or attempting to actually allow him to thrive in the here and now, his follow-up to his 8 Deaths of Spider-Man arc would instead focus on a lesser trodden period of the hero's life, his pre-superhero years. I'm honestly not sure what they think they're trying to do with this, with the whole focus on his pre-superhero years. Why they think anybody would be interested in that is strange to me, but continue on me. This is what he had to say. I'm sort of fascinated with Peter as a young person, like pre-high school, the writer told us to, because we haven't really spent any time with him at that time period. And I feel like we get a lot of our hard wiring at that age. You hit that age when you're like 13, 14, you start processing things differently because he lost his parents when he was younger, but what does that really mean to him as an adolescent? Does he act out? Is he more reserved? We always see him as the nerdy kid, but was nerdy kid, but was he angry? Because when I go back and read those early books, Peter was mad a lot. How the whole thing about him and his parents, we got that his parents were spies and all of that. Okay. But why are you looking to go back to Peter Parker when he was 13 and 14 years old? He didn't even have his spider powers at that age. So what exactly are you looking for when it comes to that kind of story? That's like saying, you know what, let's look at Superman when he was in diapers, because for some reason you want to see John and Mark Kent changing that for some reason. Why? Why? Why would anybody care about Spider-Man when he was 13 and 14 before he was Spider-Man. He's not even a hero back then. Why would anybody care about it? The whole fact of it is that you want to tell stories about him as a hero. That's what people want to see. But you like, was because he lost his person, he was younger. Was he angry? Was he this? Was he that? Yeah, they've already kind of gone through all that, and you want to go back and tell it because reasons, I guess. Ay, ay, ay. Eh. While Kelly may hold some level of genuine interest in exploring Peter's pre Spider Man life, as admittedly this period hasn't seen a lot of attention, the choice to have Amazing Spider Man Volume 7 go thematically back in time represents yet another attempt by Marvel Comics to push their aforementioned belief that Spider Man is about youth. Like, why? What made Amazing Spider-Man the flagship of the Marvel line was the soap opera aspect of Peter's life. The fact that he was a young character, a character who could screw up, a character that life seemed to occasionally dump on in humorous ways, and yet would keep on striving to do right by everybody. All right, that's what Tom Brevoort had said. Back then, he said that when post one more day rules of for the character as seen in the back of the storylines, collected editions. And every man is Shamil grounded in the real world, grounded in Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. This is what Tom Brevoort had said about Spider-Man back in the day. And okay, we're good with that. Then he only on, Spider-Man doesn't grow up, he continued. He doesn't get a 9 to 5 job and couldn't hold it if he did get one. The idea that J. Michael Straczynski set up with him teaching in his old school had its merits, but they never really got fleshed out and explored enough and making Peter a teacher. This is what I'm talking about. They say that Spider-Man cannot hold a 9 to 5 job. In this day and age, Peter Parker, who is a genius, can have some kind of career that doesn't involve him doing this. But no, you don't seem to want to do that. He was a billionaire at one point. They got rid of that and acted like it, they basically turned them into a loser because they keep regressing the character because some reason they don't want Peter Parker to ever be more than 16 years old. And now Joe Kelly wants to go back even further to when he's 13 and 14. How is that sensible? But sadly, despite the fact that Peter's high school era and college years lasted for a collective total of 16 years and barely made up a little over a fourth of the wall crawler's 63-year publication history, following his debut in 1962, the hero graduated from Midtown High 3 years later in 195's Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, number 28, and received his undergraduate degree from Empire State University 10 years later in 1978. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, number 185. Practically everyone with any say in his handling on the current Spider Office to Brevoort still have made it abundantly clear that Spider-Man equal youth. Hill is the one that they will proudly die on. The fact of the matter is that when Spider-Man was being written by Stan Lee back in the day, he had more progression than what he's getting now. That's really how bad it is. That is really how bad it is. They have refused to allow the character to grow, to develop, to anything. To the point now where they just continuously want to just regress. That's it. They announced that Mary Jane is the host of Venom for some ongoing reason. It pissed off everybody. You understand me? It's eight. That's a Spider-Man. It was just absolutely ridiculous. They just announced the new title for the upcoming Spider-Man movie that everybody should be like rolling their eyes at because they basically talk about how, that was the one after one more day of one brand. They just want to regress him again, and that's it. That's all they keep doing with Spider-Man, regressing him. To this end, Kelly closed out his time by noting that while nothing is yet set in stone, he is currently hoping that his run with the web slinger will last a couple of years. Yeah, good luck with that. That's certainly the plan here, and if people are happy, then I'll be chugging along. Not even a longevity thing. Look, the fact of the matter is, you keep wanting to drag Spider-Man back down. And you know this panel here with him looking for work and cannot find anything because that's what he is, that's what they keep doing to him. Peter Parker is a genius. He literally had his own company. I remember that he was a billionaire, but no. Your plan now is to regress him so far back. You're going to the early teenage years before he even had spider powers and tell people this is something you should read because I don't understand it. It doesn't make any kind of sense. Now, I have said before, I say again that, Marvel has this obsession with one Spider-Man to remain like this kind of everyman, young character. I think that is it. But what people want is Spider-Man to actually be Spider-Man. But they don't want that, and they keep shooting themselves in the foot. That is it. So yeah, this is what we're getting. Spider-Man is apparently turning into Peter Pan, and he's gonna regress so far back to his early teenage years, so that Joe Kelly could explore. Maybe he was angry and moody because his parents died or something. I don't even know what the hell he's thinking, but it's just beyond stupid. That's it, in my opinion. Really stupid. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like it, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.